welcome into the Wiltfong Whiparound with our director of scouting. 2 thumbs up. He's telling you right now. Hit that like button if you have not already. Steve Wiltfong is here. Steve, you are fresh off a visit of your own out west. Everybody's going west recently, but you got to chat with 5-star quarterback Dylan Raiola, the #1 player in the class. He's, of course, been loading up on those Georgia crystal balls lately. So what can you tell us about your trip and your conversations with the nation's top QB?
Well, those thumbs up were also for you being able to say Munster Tiger.
It's a tough one.
But let's talk a little Dylan Raiola. He looked excellent. Got a chance to see him work out with some of his receivers as he acclimates himself to his new high school over there at Phoenix Pinnacle, and he's leaner now. You know, I think when I last saw him, he was over 220 pounds. Now he's under 200 pounds. He's got a strict diet he's adhering to. He's doing yoga, Pilates, a lot of jumping rope, a lot of box drills and things of that nature to work on foot speed. And I thought he looked terrific in that workout on air. And then, of course, we talked recruiting, Emily, and I asked him what he was looking for in a college football program as he nears his decision. And he talked about relationships being the main factor, having a strong relationship with the OC, the quarterback's coach, and especially the head coach. Talked about the city, the campus life. He said academics are huge for him. He wants to major in business or communications. And then the football side of things, talked about scheme. And then he also talked about wanting to play against the best competition. I'm really liking my Georgia crystal ball after spending more time with him this weekend. He was just back there in March. That was his 6th visit on campus, but his first time in almost a year, because there was a time where Georgia was the clear leader early on. They were the first program to offer him a scholarship. But you know, some other schools kind of took the lead at various points from Ohio State to USC, but I really love Georgia's position. Him and Kirby Smart are tight. He's really hit it off with Mike Bobo. His dad played with Matt Stafford for a long time. Coach Bobo coached Matt Stafford. And some great insight there. But USC and Nebraska hanging around in this recruitment. There's no timetable for decision, can come at any point, but still really loving where Georgia stands with Dylan Raiola.
Steve, a guy you didn't see on your trip out west, I don't know, maybe you stopped by in O'Hare or Midway. Justin Scott, the defensive lineman there in Chicagoland. You got some juice on him, so give it to us. What's the latest?
Yeah, well, I think it's time for me to move my crystal ball on Justin Scott, so I'm going to do it here on the air. I do think Notre Dame is in the mix for the top 30 or the number 35 player in the country for us in the 24/7 rankings, #1 in Illinois. But I think Miami's the team to beat. You know, talking to various sources about Justin Scott's recruitment, I think a couple visits there in the last calendar year put Miami in great position. He did a great interview with Gabby Uridia last time he was on campus, talked about loving his time spent there for practice. He's really hit it off with the coaching staff, loves Jason Taylor being there at Miami, the NFL Hall of Famer. And I think Miami has emerged as the team to beat there. I think Georgia is another program that I'm watching closely there. I think they can make a major move. There was a time where I thought Justin Scott was close to committing to Notre Dame, but Georgia sent Trey Scott up there to watch him play basketball. Georgia offered. I think that was the offer that kind of slowed things down. So they're very much in it going into an early June official visit. That's going to be a massive recruiting weekend for the Bulldogs that first weekend of June. And then certainly Ohio State's in there, Michigan, Notre Dame. But I like where Miami stands, and my 24/7 Sports crystal ball is now with the Hurricanes as I talk to you guys.
Ooh, we love when there's news. This has been an absolutely loaded show. Thank you for that, Nugget. We mentioned at the top of the show a long time ago that there's a new #1. Michigan has been on an absolute tear with their 2024 class, of course, headlined by the 5-star quarterback in Jaden Davis. So what do you make of the Wolverines' success on the trail and maybe, their potential?
Well, you and Andrew touched on it at the top of the show. Obviously, they're recruiting quarterback as well as anyone in the country right now. They have our #2 quarterback in America committed. This is going to be one of the best offensive line classes in the country, headlined by Andrew Sprague. They're trending for Jake Guaranera, who's going to announce his college decision tomorrow. And then you have Luke Hamilton, Ben Robruck, and Blake Frazier in the fold. And they could land a 6th guy, whether that's top 247 offensive lineman Max Anderson, top 247 offensive lineman Bennett Warren, or top 247 offensive lineman Michael Luini. They're all from the state of Texas. Sounds like things are picking up with them with Jordan Seaton as well. I wouldn't go predicting them. I probably like Georgia for Jordan Seaton right now, but those two Joe Moore awards make offensive line recruiting very attractive. Michigan has arguably the best running back in the Midwest committed in Jordan Marshall. I think when all said and done, they're going to have one of the best linebacker classes in America. I recently predicted 2 linebackers to Michigan. Aaron Childs, who's one of my favorites in the country at the position out of Good Counsel. Jeremiah Beasley, I predicted this past week out of Belleville. Things have really picked up since Chris Partridge got hired at Michigan, a one-time 24/7 Sports National Recruiter of the Year. They've gotten Beasley to campus several times, so I think Michigan's trending there. I like where Michigan stands with top 247 edge Brian Robinson. More breaking news. He told me today that he has set up his official visit to Ann Arbor the first weekend of June. I'll have more on our Michigan site later on that upcoming official visit. A couple other guys I have predicted to Michigan right now. 4-star receiver Channing Goodwin. I think he's nearing a decision. That's Jaden Davis's teammate down there at Providence Day School. Helped them win a state championship. And then American Stewart from Chicago Kenwood. Out of the Windy City. He's a guy that Michigan's led for a long time, so I have him forecasted to the maize and blue as well. And then one more Michigan target I want to mention is top 247 cornerback Aaron Scott, number 4 player in the land at the position per our rankings. He's at Oregon this weekend. Ohio State's the crystal ball favorite, but there's a lot of people that believe that Michigan is in prime position here as well for Aaron Scott. So exciting time for Michigan on the trail right now.
Well, Steve, you brought up the Ducks. They have their spring game on Saturday. Just Aaron Scott won't be the only guy there. Who else should we look out for visiting Eugene, checking out Dan Lanning and them?
Yeah, big 5-star weekend for Oregon. And it started this week with Elijah Rushing, who came in on campus and talked about Oregon bringing that SEC mentality to the Pac-12. And I might like where Oregon stands with Elijah Rushing now. Notre Dame and a few others definitely strongly in the mix for him. But Oregon in a very attractive position for Elijah Rushing going into his official visits. Some more 5-stars expected in this week. Number 1 offensive tackle in the country, Brandon Baker. There was a time where Oregon was no question his leader. Greg Biggins has said that before. That's the intel I have. Miami's picking up steam there, but Oregon going to try and remind him why he's loved them so much. David Stone taking a visit as they try and make a move on Oklahoma and Miami for him. Jordan Ross getting his first look. I know he likes Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and Auburn, to name a few there. Don't sleep on Oregon for Dylan Stewart. Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, probably best positioned with Ohio State, Penn State in there. But I think Oregon can make a major move for Dylan Stewart in this recruitment as well. And then, like I said, Aaron Scott's out there. Justin Williams is a top 247 linebacker from Texas. I have crystal ball to Oregon, and they could land their commits this weekend. You got Michael Van and you got Luke Moga, both visiting for the second time this spring. Oregon trending on the crystal ball for both. And as they try and rebuild the quarterback room with Bo Nix exhausting his eligibility this weekend, Van Buren and Luke Moga, 2 of the top guys that they covered on the board visiting this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if they're Ducks soon.
Ooh, I like it, Steve. A little preview for the weekend. We got more of that content coming up in a bit. Steve, thank you so much for coming on the show today, and tell the people what they need to do one more time. Hit that like button.